Hi guys, and welcome back to another Tech Minds video. So here's a couple of VNAs that I've collected over the years. The orange 3D printed case was actually the first ever VNA that I owned, but it didn't come with an internal battery, although I guess I could have added one. Now the other one in a black metal case lasted a bit longer and it was very good, but the USB socket broke and I wasn't able to charge it anymore. So I got this. Now this is the SysJoin SV4401A. It's been around a while, but I thought I would show you guys what a decent vector network analyzer looks like. It covers from 50 kHz right up to 4.4 GHz, so it covers most of the amateur ham bands. It can also measure a wide range of tests like standing wave ratio or SWR. It can also measure insertion loss, and it can easily test filters, which we'll take a look at later in the video. Now, as you saw previously, this unit comes in a nice protective case, along with two N-type to SMA adapters, two 30cm SMA male patch cables, a high quality braided USB-C cable, which can be used for charging and using the Windows software, and you also get a little bag of adapters and then little plugs which can be used for calibrating the VNA. Port 1 and Port 2 are both N-type females, which is why there are two N-type to SMA adapters included in the package. There are also 4 buttons along the bottom. However, as this VNA is touchscreen, you rarely have to use them, unless you're using the left and right arrow buttons for moving any of the markers. Now down the left side we have a USB socket. Now this is where you can plug in a USB thumbstick for upgrading firmware. There is also 2 status LEDs for power and charging, alongside a physical on and off switch. Below this there's a USB-C socket, which is used for charging the 2 internal batteries or for transferring data, whether you're using a computer software or transferring things like screenshots and calibration data to your computer while in U-Disk mode. The 2 port connections are located on the top of the unit, and on the rear there's this really handy pull-out stand, which makes the viewing angle perfect if you're going to be using this VNA on a desk or a flat surface. With the VNA turned on, I'm now going to attach the N-type to SMA adapters to port 1 and 2. Now we need to perform a calibration, so I'm going to calibrate it with the SMA patch cable attached to port 1, as I want the returned result to not include the cable. Down the right side of the screen there are a few options, one of which is Cal. I'll just press this and then you have the option to go through the different calibrations. So first I'll calibrate using the open connector. It's the one without the center pin found in our accessory bag. As soon as you press open, the calibration begins, and it's rather quick, which is quite nice. Now do the same for short and then load. The load adapter is the taller one out of the rest, and this will emulate a 50 ohm load for the VNA to calibrate to. Lastly, we need to calibrate through, and to do this we connect the end of the SMA patch cable to port 2. Again, this is rather quick, so you don't have to wait too long. Once the calibration is complete, it's now ready to be used. Now down the left side of the screen you can select and enable 4 different traces just by tapping on them. Now if you hold your finger on one of the touchscreen buttons, you can change some settings like channel and format. The available formats are in a list form which you can scroll through up and down. Now there's quite a few there, ranging from logmag to SWR. Now the SV4401A also has a built-in signal generator, which you can alter the frequency and power level. Now this is great for a variety of features, especially testing the receive sensitivity of radio receivers or transceivers. You can also change the frequency span by tapping on the set frequency button on the top right. Now the wider the bandwidth, the longer the scan will take, but you can adjust sweep points if it's taking too long, but remember you'll lose some resolution if you drop that too low. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of different measurements. First, let's test this FM broadcast bandpass filter, which should only allow frequencies between 88 to 108 MHz, and anything outside this range will be attenuated. I need to use the log mag measurement and then connect the device under test between port 1 and 2. Setting the frequency range of between 50 MHz and 150 MHz should show up a nice hump where the bandpass filter is working. And there we go, a nice hump. Using the arrow buttons along the bottom, we can move that log mag marker, and on the top left of the screen, we can see the marker frequency and the attenuation level measured in dB at that current frequency. So let's try another filter, and this time we'll test the Flamingo FM band stop from Nuelec. Now what this should do is, instead of only allowing FM broadcast stations through, it should block FM broadcast stations coming through. Now this is a popular device for those radio enthusiasts to use if they live close by to an FM broadcast transmitter, which could be causing them problems on other frequencies. Now here we can see a dip where the broadcast band is being attenuated. Now at the lowest peak there, that reads around minus 32 dB. Now I guess one of the most popular measurements would be SWR of an antenna. Now the SWR reading should tell us where the antenna is resonant, or at least show us how much reflective power is present at a given frequency. For this test, I'll test the SWR on a 2.4 GHz Helix antenna, which I use on my satellite dish for QA100 uplink. Now with the VNA in SWR mode on trace 1, we can see that it has a rather good SWR of around 2.4 GHz. Now another cool feature is being able to store screenshots to the internal memory. Now this is very useful if you want to measure an antenna, make some adjustments, measure again, and then compare the readings. Now by enabling UDisk mode and plugged into a computer, the VNA becomes like a thumbstick. You can copy the screenshots to your computer using File Explorer. While talking on the subject of connecting the VNA to a computer, you can also use an application called Nano VNA Saver on your computer as well. Now this essentially replicates the features and functions of the VNA on the computer. You can choose the measurement type, the frequency range, and a whole host of other settings to perform live measurements back to the computer. Now using a network analyzer for SWR measurement can make life a whole lot easier, and let me explain why. For example, this reading here shows the center of the dip to be around 13.8 MHz, but the antenna being tested is meant for use on the 20 meter handband, which is between 14 and 14.35 MHz. So ideally, the center of the dip should be around 14.1 MHz. Now knowing that the dip is lower than the target frequency means that the antenna is too long, so we can shorten it to move that resonant point upwards in frequency. Now that would also be reflected on the VNA, giving you a visual representation of where the antenna is tuned. Now the same goes for if the dip was above the target frequency, the antenna would be too short and you'd need to lengthen it to lower that dip in frequency. Anyway guys, that's a SysJoin VNA. Now like I said at the beginning of the video, this has been around a little while, and I believe there are actually a couple of other names that this product has. However, I think it's an awesome piece of kit. It's not the cheapest, but having that large display really does help, especially if you're going to be taking it out portable or if you're out in the garden, etc, etc. Anyway guys, until the next video, take care of yourself and I'll see you in the next one.